Ahoy folks, and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So we're carrying on with our Psyker builds, and today we are looking at something a little bit different. So let's jump in and take a look at what we're using. So first of all, we'll be using the dueling sword, the Mark IV. And as always, we're dumping up mobility, because screw mobility. And everything else is going to be 80, damage, finesse, penetration, lol, and cleave damage. As for the perks, we're going for Maniac and Carapace. Maniac is to help deal with all of the specials, and Carapace is to help deal with crushers and maulers and heavier armor. This weapon has so much penetration, lol, that we don't need the extra helping hand with flak at this point, so we can kind of skate over that. But Maniacs, they vary from like unarmored to flak, so it's just nice having that extra 25% against them. As for blessings, we're going for Riposte, which is a plus 20% crit chance for 6 seconds on successful dodge, and Prognition for plus 6% finesse damage for 2 seconds on successful dodge. Sorry, Precognition, there we go. I cannot read for a second. As you can see, both of these are based off of dodge, so what I said earlier about mobility, yeah, we need a little bit of mobility, but not enough to actually need it in the modifiers. So, how the weapon is going to work is we're going to be dancing around, stabbing at faces. The more we dodge, the more damage we do. The less damage we take, the more damage we do. As you can see, it's generally that. So, how are we going to get all of this dodge? Well, from the build, and also we're taking a stamina curio. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. For our main weapon, we're going to be using the heavy las pistol. As you can see, mine's not completely empowered properly yet, but we're going to be using ammo as the dump stat because it's got quite a lot of ammo in it, and sometimes we do need a small amount of mobility, but also you can use mobility as your dump stat if you want to. This is just how mine rolled. Ammo or mobility are pretty decent dump stats on this. As long as your damage, stability, and stopping power are maxed out, doesn't really matter about the other two, or at least in my opinion. As for perks, we're going for Unyielding and Flak. This is to deal with boss damage at range, and also to deal with any of those pesky flak armored enemies. Because flak armor is the most prevalent armor type in the game, and the las pistol does need a bit of help to hit those breakpoints. Now, Unyielding, that will be all of your monstrosities, plague ogrins, beasts of Nurgle, etc., and also bulwarks and reapers. As for the blessings, we're going with Dum Dum, which is a plus 6% close range damage when repeated hit stacks 5 times, and Infernus, plus 4 burn stacks on critical hit to a maximum of 12 stacks. We have a lot of crit in this build, so the Infernus is just going to be there helping us the same way Wildfire does. And now for the curios, we're going for 2 toughness curios with 5% toughness and combat ability regeneration. You can switch out the combat ability regeneration for plus health if you want a little bit more defense. I just prefer the cooldown. So toughness, combat ability regeneration, and damage resistance gunners. Now, these 2 curios are exactly the same. And then the third one is a stamina curio, which is going to help us blocking and dodging. And with this, we're going with plus 5% toughness, plus 4% combat ability regeneration, and plus 20% damage drops and damage resistance gunners. There we go. Get my teeth in. As you can see, it's got 60%, but in actuality, it kind of works out to about 45%-ish with the diminishing returns for having so much. Which is annoying, but you know, that's kind of what it works out as. So, as you can see, it's a bit of a strange build to start with. Let's get a bit weirder, shall we? So, we'll start off here on the left. We're going into Soul Stealer for replenishing 7.5% toughness on warp attack kill. Into Quietude, replenish 5% toughness for each 10% of perils quelled. Perilous Combustion. Killing an elite or a specialist enemy applies 3 stacks of Soul Blaze to nearby enemies, causing damage over time. And then the toughness boost here. Then we're going to be grabbing Metal. Critical hits replenish 5% toughness. Also grants 5% movement speed for 4 seconds, stacking 3 times. And then into Warp Expenditure, replenish 2.5% toughness for every 10% perils generated. And then into Perfect Timing, plus 3% warp damage for 10 seconds on critical hit, stacks 5 times. Now, you're seeing this and thinking, we're not using a staff. That's because a lot of our damage is going to come from Assail. Assail is what we're going to be using to soften up hordes and hopefully to snipe elites. So as you see, go into Toughness Boost and then into Assail through swift homing projectiles formed of psychic energy, less effective versus carapace armored enemies. And then we've got ethereal shards. Projectiles from Assail now pierce an additional target, and also quick shards. Assail recharges 30% faster. And then down into a Toughness Boost, and then into Malefic Momentum, plus 4% damage to warp attacks for 8 seconds after a non-warp attack based kill, stacks 5 times. And a plus 4% damage to non-warp attacks for 8 seconds after a warp-based kill, stacks 5 times. This is going to allow us to bounce between our sword, our Assail, and our pistol, and they will all buff each other. And then down here into Toughness Damage Reduction, into Prescience. You and your allies in Coherency gave 5% more critical hit chance. Then into Toughness Damage Reduction. And then into Empathic Evasion. Critical hits make you count as dodging against ranged attacks for 1 second. As you see, we're stacking a lot of crit in this. And then Telekinetic Shield, because why not? Spawns a Psychic Shield in front of you for 17.5 seconds. The shield blocks enemy ranged attacks while you and your allies can shoot through. Base cooldown is 40 seconds. Telekinetic Dome. Telekinetic Shield now forms a spherical shield which lasts for 25 seconds. And then Sanctuary allow allies inside your Telekinetic Shield replenish 10% toughness. Each second when your Telekinetic Shield dissipates, all allies inside gain 50% toughness damage reduction for 5 seconds. Lovely big shield. There you go. Some more critical hit. Then into the health boost and Warp Rider. Deal up to 20% damage, increases your perils increased. Then into Kinetic Deflection. While below critical perils, blocking an attack causes you to gain peril instead of losing stamina. And also this is how we're going to force stack some of that peril, as we can do it through Assail, but if we want to try and keep it higher, blocking is now going to help us do that. Then into movement speed boost, then into True Aim, landing 5 weak spot hits grants your next ranged attack a guaranteed critical, can only trigger once per attack. Then into the toughness boost, and then into Disrupt Destiny. Every second, enemies within 25 meters have a chance of being marked. Killing a marked enemy replenishes 10% toughness, grants 20% movement speed for 2.5 seconds, and adds a precision bonus for 4. Each precision bonus grants 1% damage, 2% critical damage, and 2.5% weak spot damage. Precision bonus stacks 15 times, and when the duration ends, 1 stack is removed and the duration is refreshed. So this is basically like that carnival game where you're shooting little metal ducks there, you know, going across. Just shoot the glowing target and you'll get this buff. And this does also work with Assail, and I think you can actually melee trigger it as well if they're close enough to you. So, you know, not that difficult to keep going. And then we've got Lingering Influence, increase the duration of Disrupt Destiny from 4 seconds to 10, and then Cruel Fortune, weak spot kills grant 2 additional stacks of Disrupt Destiny. So this is a bit of a weird build, but I've been having fun messing about with it. You will mostly be dodging around, killing things with your sword. When hordes are coming towards you, you will be throwing Assail into them, weakening them up, and not forgetting that you can left click to hold, charge the Assail up to try and snipe something, as you can see that. It does bounce through a few targets. So basically, you'll be able to kill anything that isn't, you know, a Crusher, a Mauler, or a heavily armed Rager. I mean, it does some respectable damage to the Ragers, but not a huge amount. So, you are weakening up hordes with Assail. When they get into range, you switch over to your melee weapon. You will be dodging and diving. And as you dodge, you will be getting crit chance and crit damage, and also be counting as dodging ranged attacks. And now if you need to quickly ping something that has Disrupt Destiny on it, the las pistol has you covered. It's stupidly accurate, does a fair amount of damage, and you have a fairly decent pool of ammo to go with it. I mean, you can use the pistol more if you want to. It's a pretty decent weapon. But Assail is going to be where most of your damage is going to come from. But you are going to have to switch around and, you know, go from melee to range to get those buffs rolling, really. It doesn't quite show in here, the Disrupt Destiny, but the target does glow blue. So you just kind of see whoever's got the blue glowing head on them, ping them, and you get the buff. And you just keep that rolling, really. Now, I'm not going to call this a meta build because it's not quite meta, to be honest. But it is amusing. I have used this build in Damnation and Orc Damnation. It does work. It's a little bit more work than the other builds, but, you know, it's funny. Also, this is a very good build if you are trying to get the penances done for the Psyker. Especially the ones that, you know, require you to do the whole Disrupt Destiny things. I don't even remember which one. I don't know what I'm looking at them. I don't remember which ones they are. It's far too long ago. It was at least not today. And, of course, you've got your shield. Your lovely big bubble of safety. And with the amount of cooldown we've got, just drop it when your team is starting to get hammered by ranged things, really. You are a moving bulwark. There you go. Bit of a quicker build than usual, but as I said, I'm not going to slap the meta label on this because it's not meta. But it is fun, so shut up, Stephanie. It is fun. So if you do try it out, you do like it, please do like and subscribe. It really does help us out, and we really do appreciate it. And I shall see you all for the next build. So until then, take it easy. I'll see you later.